Hi everyone, Deb here. This is my final video for the YouTube influencer program for Globeland. They had provided me a whole package of stamps, and I previously used the train one in here for a steampunk card. I'll show you all the projects at the end. And I have used this paper on a cat card, but I thought I pulled out two stamp sets. This one, and this is out of the Violet Bloom paper. It's right here. It sort of looks like seagrass to me. And I also pulled from my own stash Misty Moonlight cardstock. And where's the other stamp set? Did I put it away already? I had another stamp set out. It had other fish on it. I might have decided not to use it. I think I'm going to just try and use this one, including There's Nobody Better Than You, the School of Fish, the Bubble, this one, which I've already stamped, and this is a two-step. So I did this in black and this in Tahitian Tide ink by Stampin' Up. I did have to touch it up a little bit, plus I went over it with a little bit of Calypso Coral. I think this is the right one. Yeah, just around its bill, beak. I don't know what they're called on fish. Bill, I think. I don't know. Anyway, the nose part. And I just did around the fins and some of the lines on there just to give it a little, because fish are not one-toned. I'm planning on bumping that up if all goes well. But I'm also planning on stamping this probably in Calypso Coral, I'm not sure yet. And this, actually I don't know if I'll do that in Calypso Coral, some other color. We'll have to wait and see. I might just do it in like a dark blue. This in Calypso Coral, and we'll color it in that. Maybe. And There's Nobody Better Than You. I don't know what I'll stamp that in. Maybe a dark blue if I do this in dark blue, because we have dark bluish, purplish blue here. So let me set that aside for now, because what I decided to do first, I was looking around at the paper, and at first I had a whole sheet of this paper, and then I actually cut out a little piece that I was going to be the sand. I wasn't liking how that looked. So I changed my mind, as I often do. So this is a piece of watercolor paper, which this might go on after, but we'll see. We'll see how I like it or not. And then these are retired, but you can probably find pigment sprinkles or watercolor crystals other places too. So I brought out Bermuda Bay Gorgeous Grape to give it a more in-depth, darker color. And I thought maybe Mango Melody for the beachy part of the bottom. So we're going to sprinkle these on gently and see what we get. I have a water sprayer here, and I have a watercolor brush. It doesn't have much water in it, but I'm going to spray the card, and then I'm going to go back and forth. And this is already cut to 5 1/4 by 4, which is an A2 card mat size. And I remember vaguely, you don't need a whole lot of this. They didn't have any Calypso Coral, or I might have tried that. I don't know. So actually I want to use purple here first, because towards the bottom of the ocean, I imagine, I've never been down there and won't ever be down there in my lifetime, I imagine it's darker than at the surface, right? Seems like it is from all the TV shows and stuff I've seen. All right, I guess that's enough. I don't know, it's been so long since I've done this. And Bermuda Bay, I feel like, is a great color. So of course these are not Globeland, but the stamp set is. Ooh, that looks really dark for Bermuda Bay, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to say that's enough. We shall see. Let me push them aside over here. And let's just spray this and see what happens. I'm going to start at the top. Oh yeah. Oh, this really comes out in a stream. Maybe if I... Okay, we're going to have mud. I can see that. This sprayer is wild. Yeah, the purple and, well, it kind of made like a sand color there, right? I wasn't going for quite that dark, but maybe we can add more water to it. I do have a mixed medium mat under here. That was way too much color. Let's get some of this off the edge of the card here. Way too much water as well. Let's spread this, mix the purple and the blue together more. That's what I was more going for. The dark ocean, right? A little bit lighter up there. All right, I'm gonna get another paper towel. I have one right here actually. And just go around the edge a little bit and sop some of that up. And then actually it's kind of cool. I don't mind it looking muddy because it's supposed to be like sand on the bottom of the ocean, but it's still dark, right? I do think, and I kind of like how that is going there too. All right, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna take up this mess and dry this. I don't want you to hear that, and I'll be right back. Okay everyone, so here it is. It looks kind of cool, like where the sprinkles were spreading out. It left little lines, but I think that really looks pretty cool. So the plan was originally to stamp this right on here, which I might still do. This would be up here. I'm thinking I might actually end up fussy cutting that. But first we're going to do this school of fish, and I'm using Stampin' Up's Cajun Craze. I was actually originally going to use, what do you call it? Calypso Coral, but I don't know if it'll show up on this dark blue. I'm just wiping the corner of my block off a little bit because I got ink on it. I kind of want these to be coming down like this, I think. I'm going to stand up and push on it just because it's on watercolor paper, and I don't really know if it'll work good right on there. So I tested it out on a little piece I had, and it came out looking like black, so I thought that's okay. It'll look like the shadow. They look a little more golden there, so I'm happy with that. Now the thing is, this particular stamp comes out, if I can find it, hollow. So I don't know if I'll be able to color on that, but that's so hard to fussy cut. I'm going to do it anyway. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stamp it in the same color, but then I'm going to try and color it in with marker in Calypso Coral. And I think we'll have that right down here. Let's see how that does. Doesn't really show up good. That said, okay, so I'm gonna get let me clean these off. I'm gonna get markers or watercolor pencils perhaps. Maybe that's what I'll do. Watercolor pencils and try and color that in. If I have Calypso Coral, that might work. So I'll be back. Hello everyone, I'm back. So I had stamped that in Cajun Craze, and I do have these watercolor pencils. This is Stampin' Up, but it's Calypso Coral, And I just went ahead and, as best I could see it, colored that in, and I think that came out great. My fingers are quite a mess from this watercoloring, and I'm not happy with that spot there, so I'll have to figure out what to do with that. But here's where I'm going. I'm gonna bump this up on dimensionals, and I'm probably gonna put little air bubbles going up this way, maybe to that spot to cover up part of that. That's what I'll do. Actually, I was thinking of having this down here, because this is going to go on a strip like right across here. And also I changed out my card base to be Bermuda Bay instead of Misty Moonlight. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be using the paper from because it'll cover up too much of the design. But I'm using all the fish on the stamps and the sentiment, so I am using the Globeland products as my starting point. Now I'm going to stamp this in Bermuda Bay on white cardstock, and the only one I have here is this one. So let's see. This says, "There's nobody better than you." I might have to cut this paper down, but that's okay. And this will brighten it up a little bit because it's in white. I think I might have the stamp on crooked. Let's just see. Yeah, let me try that again because the stamp's a little crooked on the block. So that's because I tried to lay it on this way. So we're going to put it down here, and now, oops, hang on, trying to get that lined up there. Now let's try. We'll go over here and try it. I just stuck my finger in the ink. Oh, of course I did. And I inked it up really good. I'm going to kind of go down towards the bottom because I think I'm going to cut some of that off. Beautiful. Isn't that pretty? Oh, pretty. Just going to wipe it off on this paper towel here for now, and then I'll clean it later. Now, let's do that. Let's cut that first, and then I'll see what I want to do the bubbles in. I might just use black for that. So I'm going to bring in a little trimmer, and we're going to, first of all, cut this off. It can't be any bigger than 4. Maybe 3 1/4. Yeah. And then let's cut this down to, has to be 1 inch. And then actually I'm going to cut a little more off for this side. That was 3 1/4. Let's make it just 3. All right. So now let's bring the card back here and see what we want to do. I'm thinking I'm going to, I'm going to cut more off of that, another 1/4 inch off this side. So that was 3, so 2 3/4 inches. And, oops. Yeah, I think if that goes right here, I kind of want the fish to be heading down there, and then the bubbles maybe going up that way. So, but I think I want to put this actually now on a piece of Bermuda Bay behind it. Anyway, the stamps appear to be working very well, even stamping on the watercolor paper, which is great. Trying to find a scrap that might fit. Let's see, how about this one? That'll fit if I cut this down a little bit. So let's try that, because otherwise I'm going into a much wider piece of paper. So I just want to cut a sliver off the bottom of this. So this was 1 inch, I believe. So let's see if we can make it like 7/8. No. I'm afraid I'm going to be cutting the Y off. Let's try it. It's real close. That hardly cut anything off. I don't know. Let me see. I think that's good enough. So that was 2 3/4. Let's make this 3. I might trim that down a little bit too. So we'll keep that close to hand. And let's see if we want this on here like this. Yeah, I'm going to cut another 1/8 of an inch or so off of this. What did I say? That's 3. So I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off. And I think that will just be enough to edge it. So let's glue that together. Let's see. Yep. Now, one suggestion is I have a 1/4 inch thick mat under this messy mat thing on top, and I have a glass mat underneath that, but I find that to be too glary, or I would have just used that on top. So this is also a little bit glary, but not as bad as the glass mat. Anyway, to help you stamp, put a like an old mouse pad or something under your stamps, especially the first time using them, and test them out. So we're definitely going to bump this up, so let's get some dimensionals on here. I might need some little ones here too. Let's see if we get as much of that point there. And I think I want a little one, so we'll just have to use that. I have other little ones too, but I don't know where they are at this very point in time. And then we will also bump this up. But I want to get the placement of the fish first. And actually, before I put this on, I think I'm going to get out the other stamp set that is similar. It has some shell kind of things, and I might put them down here. So let's have this fish going like this. Looks sort of like the water is swirling around him, right? Okay, I'll be right back. I want to find that other stamp set too. Okay, this is the other one in that set that I got. I'm thinking I want to use these shells here. So let me get them. And I just realized these have little speech bubbles and things, but the sentiment I picked is too big for those. But if you had just like a hi or something, or a hello, that would work in there, which I might have in some of these stamps, but I already have the sentiment from the first stamp set, which is this one, which we're using most of. So I'm just going to use these, and I think we're going to put them right down here like this. Yeah. So, and I think I'm going to use, you know what, maybe if I have a Stays On ink, and I think I have one in brown, which might be good. Let's try it. We have this Saddle Brown. I have never stamped on watercolor paper with the Stays On that I remember. So let's just give it a try. And then we can also use watercolor pencils for them, but maybe in a brownish color if there is one. And I just got that all over my finger too. Let's try it and see which way I want the starfish to be sticking up. Let's try it. Why not? Just create a whole little scene here. It's very light again. Well, we'll definitely have to use the watercolor pencils again to color it in. Okay, so watercolor pencils. Okay, everyone, I have them colored in. I'm just going to use this water brush, and if I can get the water to come down. There's not a whole lot in it, but we're going to try it. And just go over those colors a little bit. Just want to go over this a little bit. I went around the outline of the starfish with Daffodil Delight because it just looks so dark. I want to blend some of that into the brown if I can, a little bit. Not working great, but it's doing okay, I guess. And then I do want to kind of go over this too, so you can see the lines of the stamp better. Get rid of some of that yellow. But have some of it showing in there too. And then same thing with the clam or whatever kind of shell this is. I still kind of think this is too dark here. It's good enough. It's under the ocean, you know? It's under the ocean. Okay. Not perfect. I'm not a watercolor artist by any stretch, but I just felt like I needed something there. So we're going to bump this up now as well. And then I'll stamp the bubbles for the fish, and then we'll put it on the card and call it done. Oh my goodness. So thank you once again while I'm doing this to Globeland for allowing me to participate in your program. And the products work absolutely fine from everything I have used. I had the gear dies. I'll show you all the projects that I've done. Today, this is my final official video, but of course I'll be using things, especially as we get closer to summer. I'll be using a lot of the summer stamps that were in that set. So I want this to be kind of up. I could even, no, I don't want it angled because the fish is angled. So let me, before I commit, of course I get it a little crooked. There we go. Now let's go ahead. I'm gonna get the Stays On Black ink, and we're gonna try and stamp bubbles up here. We shall see. Let's move that out of the way. I'm gonna test these on a piece of scrap paper. I can find one here. Okay. Just want that to be kind of going like that. I'm kind of pushing down and letting it sit there for a minute. I might do a couple more, coming down closer to the fish. Yeah, there we go. I like that. All right, now let's glue it down, and then I'll clean those up pretty soon. And this is to my water pen. Okay, card base. Let's glue this down. What do you think? I think the light's too bright, huh? There's nobody better than you. Just watercolored. School of Fishies. I should have maybe sprayed it with shimmer, but it's okay. So these two stamps were out of a pack. I'll show you the whole pack in a minute again. I'm sorry for the scratchy noise. My glue, I transferred into these fine tip. Okay, this is an 11. You have 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5 inches. We're in U.S. kind of measurements here. for a standard A2. I'm going to put it like this and try and rub everything down this way. We might have to put a little bit of extra adhesive around the edges in there. And I think we want some little bit of bling too. A little bit of sparkle in here. I could put one on his eye. I don't know, that might creep me out a little bit. But let me get some bling here and see what we can use. Some blue rhinestones, and I have these clear ones. Let's try and use some of these. Maybe these or the green blue ones even. But I'm kind of thinking these. Yeah. Let's try one on his eye. See if I like it or not. Sure, why not? Why not? And let's put one in the center of the starfish so people know it's down there, right? And we could even, let's get out our Wink of Stella brush here and just make these bubbles shiny a little bit. Now that will move your paint around a little bit, your watercolor. So just be careful. I'm kind of trying to dab with the tip so it doesn't spread around too much, although I could use a little more color in there, huh? Right up here. Okay. And maybe just a few stripes on these fish too. We'll make them glisten under the water a little bit. The light's coming in from above. And we want to make them sparkle. Just a little bit. A little bit more on these big guys, I guess. Okay. What do we think? Maybe on the shells too a little bit here. I don't know. I'm probably going overboard. I think that's enough. Okay. There's the card. Then all I need to do is put an inside piece. But you know what? Let's go ahead and stamp something. More coral perhaps on the inside over here. So let me get regular ink, regular black ink, because it's not over till it's over. I think I need to spend some time re-inking some ink pads. We'll see how it shows up. I'm just going to do it off the page a little bit. And where's my paper towel? Keep losing. Wipe that off and I'll clean all these stamps later. Let's color that with that Calypso Coral watercolor brush. I mean the watercolor pencil. Now I could have taken a watercolor brush and gone all over that, but I kind of like the way that looks as it is. The sentiment does show up better than it's showing there. There we go. See? Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's color this in. And you could make this multiple colors if you wanted to. I always think of coral as coral color, but you know, it's not. Some of it is just like a white, and I've seen, I think, like a pale green coral. All sorts, right? Might even be coral this dark Bermuda Bay color. I have not seen that, but it's very possible. So you tell me, do you guys snorkel or anything? Have you seen coral in its natural environment. I know a lot of coral reefs are protected now, which is a good thing. So I don't know if you're allowed to go anywhere near the coral in its natural growing state these days. At least not in the coral reefs, but there's probably some further down the, you know, ocean floor like I have it, right? I'm sorry if I'm not in screen, but I just thought that would be pretty to put that in the inside too. I think I have some regular watercolor sets too that are, you know, little paint tray kinds. I'll have to find them. I don't know where they are at the moment. Alright, let's glue this on the inside. I hope I cut it right. Yeah. And we're done with our card made using Globeland stamps. And 2 sets of them that came in a batch, which I'll show you all of them. And there will be numbers down below for the links to the stamps that I'm using today. And also there will be one for their main website and all the other products that I've used in the last 2, this video and the other video. But that's our card for today. So in summary, this is everything I made so far with the Globeland products that I received. The box, the paper, which I used here and on both of these cards. So here you can see where I used that one that looks, it could look like seagrass or just a meadow. And this one also is out of the Violet Blooms paper. And this one as well, which I put on the box. And this is actually cut out of one that is more, and so is this, that's more of a, just a small dotted pattern on it. And I used my own cardstock, but the tag, the butterflies, everything came on that box. There's 2 different ones. It came with that box set of dies called a butterfly box, and it opens like a butterfly box up here, which is also why it's called that. The Violet Bloom paper, the 4 different cat scene dies. This one I cut out in white and colored. This one I cut out of the Violet Blooms paper. Our fishy card we just did today with the stamp set that had the shells. That was a separate one. The sentiment, the coral, the school of fish, the bubbles, and the, I don't know what kind of fish that is, excuse me for that. I did use my own watercoloring and cardstock and inks and things and bling, but the stamps were all Globeland. And then the dies for this were the gears, and I die cut them once and made 2 cards, steampunky kind of cards out of it. So thank you again to Globeland, and be sure to check the links down below. If you'd like to shop just in general, please use the main link down below. That helps them know that you came from my channel, and I don't know, it just at least shows whether I'm of any benefit to them in this influencer program. So that would be nice if you'd do that for me, and I'd appreciate that if you're interested in getting anything from there. The prices are very reasonable. You know, it's coming from overseas, so the shipping takes a little while. However, the shipping is also reasonable compared to some I've seen just within our own country here in the US. So keep that in mind. And just if you want anything like overnight, it's not gonna happen, you know, coming from overseas. So don't expect that. But yeah, I was very pleased, and I hope you'll consider purchasing with Globeland. And thank you very much for watching. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of January and all of February. See you soon. Hugs, love, and peace.